So texting and driving, it's the new age of the technology that we deal with today. I think the important thing when it comes to texting and driving is that all of us have a responsibility to our family and to our friends to put those phones down, put that technology away when we're behind the wheel. Texting and driving has become the new driving under the influence in this country. I get on the roads very early every morning, and I can tell you that there's not a day that goes by where I don't pass a vehicle where someone's in the driver's seat behind the wheel texting and driving. And you can always tell because they're all over the road as if they have been drinking and impaired. And unfortunately, they don't think about the family and the friends and the other lives that they impact. When they decide that they want to get on that phone and send a message to their friend or to a family member. And maybe you put it in this perspective and think about it this way. What happens in the middle of you texting when you crash that car and you don't get to go home and your family member realizes you were sending that message to them at the time you made that ultimate mistake?
Sending that quick text while driving to the office seems harmless enough. What can it hurt? I mean, it only takes a few seconds, right? What could happen in a few seconds? This could, and it did. Was it worth it? We're all aware talking and driving has been deemed unsafe, but know this, texting and driving is actually more dangerous than talking on the phone while driving. Why put yourself or others at risk? Maybe you think it's not that dangerous. If you're writing or reading text messages while operating a vehicle, your reaction time is reduced by approximately 35%. That 35% could be the difference between life and death. We're not trying to scare you, but merely present the devastating facts and statistics about texting while driving. Can you afford to ignore them? One of the most surprising facts involving distracted driving is that this activity is actually more dangerous than driving while under the influence of alcohol. None of us believe it's okay to drink and drive, yet many believe texting while driving is okay. Are you one of them? Many states in the USA have banned texting, and others are sure to follow suit. Be sure to check your state laws and company policy in regards to texting while behind the wheel. More likely than not, it isn't permitted under any circumstances. So what should you do if you get an urgent text or email that needs an immediate response? The answer is, pull off the road to a safe location and park your car. Then you may respond to the text or email. Not only will this make you safer, it will allow you to give your full attention to the message you're typing. How many times do you see misspelled words or incorrect grammar from a colleague or friend? I bet it was written while not giving their full attention to the message because they were preoccupied with something else, like driving perhaps. This should never be the case. Not only does it make you look unprofessional, but it also puts you and everyone else around you at risk. The National Safety Council has determined roughly 28% of car crashes, or 1.6 million accidents per year, happen because a driver is texting while behind the wheel. Most of the accidents taking place involve teenagers and young adults in their 20s who are texting and driving. Does this mean if you're a seasoned driver, you're capable of safely sending a message while driving? Most definitely not. Texting is just more popular among the younger generation in comparison with people over 30 years of age, which is why the statistics lean towards 16 to 28-year-olds being involved in the majority of texting and driving accidents. But like we said, this does not mean it's safe for anyone to text and drive. It only takes that one text to change not only your life, but also your family's life forever. Texting while driving distracts drivers in 3 ways. The first, it takes the driver's eyes off the road, both to find the phone and then to read the message. Second, you may tend to let go of the steering wheel, thinking the car will drive straight for the few seconds it takes to type a response. And third, and most dangerous, It diverts the driver's attention and concentration away from their primary task, driving. It may only take 2 seconds to send a quick response through a text, but in that 2 seconds you spent looking at your phone, your vehicle traveled 165 feet. A lot can happen in 165 feet. That's 12 car lanes, or half a football field. It's the same thing as closing your eyes for a full 2 seconds while driving. It's not a good idea. A recent survey found that 1 in 5 drivers text while driving. That figure rises to 1 in 3 for people between the ages of 18 to 34. These numbers are disturbing because it's not only the driver who is texting who is at risk, it's everyone around the driver who can potentially be harmed or even killed. Now you may say, I always text and drive. I'm good at it. Nothing like this would ever happen to me. Well, we are going to speak with a few drivers that felt the same way until texting and driving directly affected their lives forever. Here are their stories.
I was just like you. I didn't believe it could happen to me. I had over 11 years of driving experience, not one accident. Before I knew it, the next text I sent ended that streak. Not only did I endanger myself, but I put the lives around me at risk, including my 6-year-old daughter. An easy Friday morning turned into one of the worst days of my life. I looked down to text, I love you. When I had looked up, everyone had stopped but me. I didn't have enough time to apply the brakes. I rear-ended the car in front of me and scared the life out of my daughter. The weight of my guilt is indescribable. I have heard plenty of horror stories about texting and driving. I just didn't think it could happen to me. Now that it has, my outlook has changed completely. Not even an I love you is worth the risk. I now know I should pull over or just wait till I get to my destination before pulling out my phone. It's just not worth it. Learn from me. It can happen to anybody.
He was able to walk away from the accident, but it didn't have to take a first-hand experience to learn texting and driving is unsafe. This is only one incident out of the 1.6 million accidents that happen per year. Let's hear the story of a second texting and driving accident, which unfortunately didn't turn out as well.
Hello, I'm Officer Hernandez. I'm here to tell you a story about an accident a young guy named Eric had a while back on this very road. Unfortunately, Eric can't tell the story himself because he's no longer with us today. It was a real tragedy what happened. Eric was driving southbound on this road here to pick up his little sister from school. He was doing about 45 miles an hour. I was parked in my radio car just to my right on this side street. As Eric passed, he didn't see me at all. He was too distracted by his phone, looking up and down, not paying attention. There was another vehicle in the left-hand turn lane waiting to hang a left into the residential neighborhood just ahead of us. Eric slammed into the back of that car at about 45 miles an hour. I was right behind him when it happened, so I was the first one on scene. I arrived, Eric wasn't breathing. I radioed for paramedics. When they arrived, they weren't able to revive him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Just imagine if Eric's little sister had already been picked up and they were both in the car. That would have been 2 lives lost. Texting and driving really isn't worth the risk. I just wish Eric would have realized this before it was too late.
It's sad that the choices we make can have a lasting effect on people's lives forever, even if we never intended them to. Please take this topic seriously. It could make all the difference. Never text and drive. If you absolutely have to reply and cannot wait till you reach your destination, pull off the road. You'll be doing yourself and everyone else on the road a favor. Thanks for watching.